because these guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh, no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh, my God. God, what?
Good evening and welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for week 3 of the VRS GT Sprint Series Part 1 of our Friday night doubleheader here on SimSpeed TV. My name is Ryan Jones. Alongside me is Simon Mizzomo, and behind the scenes is Jay Kennedy. This is going to be a very good race. Strength of field is up from last week by about 400. We've got some pretty decent names at the top end of the entry list here, Simon. This should be good, and this track as well provides a bit of a challenge, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Welcome again, everyone. Yes, this track notoriously known for being very hard to pass on, especially with these cars. Not a whole lot of downforce, even though they are sports cars. They don't have a whole lot on them. So being able to get a pass done around here is going to be incredibly difficult.
Certainly right about that. Qualifying, of course, underway. 8 minutes to do 2 laps. How does it stack up at the moment? Well, Luis Paulo Gallon sits on top by almost half a second. He's at a 1 minute 15.1. So it's a relatively short lap around here. 18 drivers have set times so far. Excuse me, and there's 24 in the session. So a decent sized field as well. We're watching Ivo Howler in the second place at the moment, trying to bridge that gap to pole sitter Gallon as he comes across the line. He does a 15.3, gets closer, but not close enough. He stays second.
Tell you what, how good did that car look, especially through that last couple of corners? Very balanced, using up all the track as he came out of there. So definitely 100%, 110% committed to that lap, and still a couple of tenths short of Luis Palagallan. Obviously, Luis showing once again he is an absolute weapon in that Merc. No matter what track it is, he is an absolute gun.
Apologies for the momentary lack of live pictures there. We're back, and Wayne Burke is on screen. Currently 4th, and he's number 4 in the room, so sat about on iRacing expectations at the moment. And, oh, that's an annoying number placard, isn't it? Right in our field of view right there, Simon. There we go, roof cam, that's better. We can watch him sweep in into this final section of the track, this long right-hander. Got to make sure you get it right. It leads into this left. You can't drift wide through here because you've got to set yourself up to get back to a very tight final corner, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very tight. It's also very, very bumpy. And as you were saying, when you let yourself run out wide, it does actually get a lot bumpier out there. So it's a bit harder to sort of get the car back. So yeah, very much have to keep yourself as tight as you can through there, especially turn 1, another corner that as well. You want to hold a very, very tight line through there. If you go a little bit too wide, very, very bumpy. So Joss Smets coming up to the very section that we were just talking about. So get it pull up, let it run wide. Very nice line through there actually. He's done the right one. Let it stay up wide a bit and then get a late apex. Again, very nice run into the last corner. Grabs the apex beautifully, but doesn't really let the car run out too wide. So didn't look that good off the final turner, and that last lap, oh geez, that was actually warm-up lap too. So I was thinking, oh, he's on a lap for this one. No, that was his warm-up lap.
Let's watch him then. Watch him. The entry to turn 2, very tricky. You come up over a rise and you dip down like a roller coaster through the sweeping corner. Then you got this long, a lot of the corners here are quite long and sweeping. So I'm starting to recall now. Another one just there, and then they sweep down into this left, and well, he's not going to. He's decided he's had enough. Timo Omsedi currently sat at the back of the grid without a time set, and again a warm-up lap for him, but just 45 seconds remain on the clock, so he won't complete that lap in time and register. So he is going to start from 24th. Looks like everyone that can set a time has set one. Everyone left on the track isn't going to make it back. So let's take a look at the starting grid then here for round 3 of the series week 3, Luis Paulo Gallon on pole by just 2/10 back to Ivo Howler in second. Wayne Burke and Hayden Burns line up off row 2. Sven Eckhart starts from 5th ahead of Gerardo Babio Romes in 6th. Chris Ilner in 7th. Raul Fernandez Vilaseca in 8th. Andrew Langham starting 9th, and Slaven Brasina from 10th.
Coming out 11th, Daniel Jerez 1 and 12th, Niels Baltas. 13th, Sammy Hanimo. Matthew Thomas out of 14th. Soren Koledzic, thank you. 16th, Jonathan Blanco. 17th, Trevor Blackman. 18th, Patrick Reich. William Carsten out of 19th. Benjamin Johnson out of 20th.
Jos Smet starts 21st. Robert Northway, Hayden Carter, and Timo Omsteady round out the field. What about the weather then? How's it looking out there for these drivers? It's looking a little bit hot. 36 degrees, 96 Fahrenheit. An extremely long race ahead of us, as you can see. About 83 million kilometers, 527,000 miles, and 214 million laps. Should be a good one. I don't think Jay worked on that graphic before the race, did he, Simon?
I reckon you can give that a go. I reckon you can give that a go, Ryan. You're a bit of a marathon man. You could definitely do about 50 million laps around this place.
Yeah. Of course, a 40-minute race, which will equate to about 32 laps. A pit stop required at some stage for fuel. They don't need to take tyres, and if you do, you disadvantage yourself drastically. It is a rolling start, of course, so they'll line up on the starting grid here behind the pace car, and they'll have to do a whole lap due to the relatively short nature of this facility.
It's strange seeing a safety car and I'm not in it.
Or crashing into it.
Yeah,
it's usually
well, actually.
Safety car is usually for you, Simon.
Yes. Well, it's taken me a while to figure that out, but I think 12 months being in a safety car, I think I've learned how the procedure works. So fingers crossed that will never happen again.
And the paced car rolls off, and the field will follow. So, 40 minutes around this track. It can be a difficult place to pass, at least in my experience, Simon. You've got a bit more GT prowess than I do, which you say can be tricky in this track. I mean, the first sector doesn't seem to offer up many opportunities.
Yeah, you're sort of aiming to mostly get your passes done. I think on the back stretch, it's obviously a bit easier to get a run on someone, especially that double right before you get there. Very critical to get a good line through there. As they're coming up to this corner here now, with the GT cars, obviously, like I said, not as much grip with these ones, but obviously more than what you get out of your supercar or your Porsche or something like that. So you can obviously have a look in there. Definitely possible to get a run done. Too wide is obviously very possible, being such a wide. Narrow as you go in, but it opens up quite nicely. So you can usually get a too wide run through there. Into here, not so much. Unless you're alongside them, I wouldn't really try and keep the nose there. Obviously it tightens up a lot into here, but as I was saying earlier, the double rights through here, get those 100% right. If you absolutely nail it, you'll get a very good run down the front straight and obviously into the big sweeper before the last couple of corners. So they're your main, you'd probably say your two main spots where you can make a pass. So, but I've been looking for a lot of people to be setting up passes around here. It is easy to defend as well, so it's a bit of a 50-50. You can defend it pretty well if you know what you're doing, but if you're confident, you can definitely get a pass done.
Certainly, and slipstream opportunities down this long straightaway should prove prevalent to some overtaking moves down here into the final sector of the race track, as the drivers now begin to set themselves for the start under the hands of Luis Paulo Gallon. Once this pace car heads down to pit road just to the right hand side, coming through the penultimate corner, they'll stack up 2 by 2 and then they'll go racing here for 40 minutes. for week 3 of the VRS GT Sprint Series. Pace cars out of the way, green flag in the air, and we're racing. And a good start there for Wayne Burke. He's going to follow Gallon through and get to the inside of Howler for turn 1. If he wants it, he backs out of it, slots into 3rd, right ahead of Hayden Burns.
Yeah, very good start from Lewis. You can see one car off the track at the moment. It's not where you want to be right now, but everyone seems to have spread themselves out quite nicely. There's only a few cars, or a couple of cars running wide. It's very easy to do around that corner. Is he going to keep it off the wall?
Fence. That's surely in the fence.
That one's definitely...
Did he fit out of it? Did he save it?
I reckon he's probably just kept off the wall. I think he's just kept it off the wall. Be very, very close.
I think replay for sure. I think looking at the witness marks on the grass, he might have just about done it. That corner is tough. It's a sneaky carry. Once you touch that grass, it escorts you further and further off. Yeah. Nothing you can do to slow it down. You're basically praying. But look at this for second. Ivo Howler coming under pressure from Wayne Burke, who could have made the move at turn 1. 40-minute race. He thought better of it. He's got the experience to know when and when not to take those opportunities. He's not close enough on this occasion. Thanks to Photo Simulation. We'll take a look at this wild moment at turn 1 for Soren Koledzic as he went in on the outside, gets onto the grass very early, and that car got sideways, and that's the same angle we saw from earlier, and he did keep it out of the wall. Good job.
That is impressive. That gets me out of the match right there already. To keep it off the wall is absolutely impressive. So, like I said, that corner, unfortunately, it's very off camber. So if you get it wide at the start, it's very, very hard to be able to pull it up and get it to turn. So that's unfortunately what he's done there. He's just left the thing run too wide early on. So a bit of a battle going on in mid-pack here.
Eckhart's lost. Yeah, Eckhart's He's lost 5 spots on this lap, in fact. So he's made a mistake probably through that section of the track we just saw a replay of. And now he finds himself in behind Juan in the number 5 car. Here we go. Here's a replay. And this is... Oh, he's got the inside of the corner and went for a slide. Oh, he got it. He definitely got it. And a bit of damage as well.
It doesn't look too bad at the moment. So hopefully that's not going to affect him too much in this race. So back to the leaders. So there's a bit of a battle going on up front with Ivo all over the back of Lewis Palagallon. We've also got Wayne Burke as well, challenging with the BMW. These things, I've got a bit of a soft spot for these BMWs. They're amazing bits of gear to drive, but you've got to be confident in them. They don't really sort of suit you if you're not willing to throw the thing around. The brakes on them are very, very powerful. You can see here, under brakes, he's just closed in very nicely. So, yeah, it's sensational brakes on these things, so... Yeah. brain blank. Oh, man. Need more coffee.
Closes up around the back part there, but that Audi absolutely sat on its haunches and launched off of that double right-hander. Nothing Wayne Burke can do about that. So, the battle front looks good. Chris Ilner, a flick spin that probably would have been done a little bit safer. How did he end up in that position, though?
Yeah, it looks like he's tapping the brakes a bit. He's just let it run wide, and yeah, just back wheel was off the track. So, yep, that there is a perfect example of why you should not move. Spun, just stay still, wait for the pack to go past. So you can see he's tried to gather it up and keep moving, and as he's done that, he's just slid right in the front of Daniel Jerez Juan. So
plunged down into pit lane as a result, and big shame for him. Completely innocent bystander in that, and probably out of the race as a result of that contact, or at least out of the running for a top 10 spot where he was. Patrick Reich's just gone for a rotation through turn 1 off into the grass, gathers it back up. Right in front of the shot, Matthew Thomas and Willem Karsten. A big crash on the entry to 3. And one of those cars was completely airborne.
Yeah, just sort of spotted that just as it happened. So let's have a little bit of a replay and see what's actually happened there. So Doesn't look too sus at the moment. Oh, car's a bit wide out of one, but they've kept them off each other. Doesn't look like too much is going on at the moment. He's running wide, or I think we've got to. I think we know what's going to happen here.
Followed him.
Yeah.
Kept it off the fence. Rank followed him to the spin. As he rejoins, he got a bit loose right before the rejoin. And speaking of unlucky victims, there's another one right there, and Matthew Thomas. The rejoin was safe up until the moment he lost control of the car right before the asphalt.
Yeah, it's just
strange how he lost it, actually.
Yeah, it's just sort of, maybe he's just turned it a little bit too aggressively and it's just sort of snapped it sideways. It's definitely an odd one. Kind of had a hunch that that was probably what was going to be what caused it, but yeah, he sort of did a very good job to control it, so unfortunate to see that actually happen. And yeah, wreck both their races in that one.
Paulo Gallons opened up the gap a little bit more. Wayne Burke probably a little bit too wide through there, and it's going to cost him. As a result, Ivo Howler, you get the feeling, proving to be a bit of a bottleneck here for Burke. Reckon he's got the pace, but I don't think he's got it in the places where it really matters, where he can make it work and get an overtake. Down here, down this back straight, he's not closing up enough. He needs to be closer coming into here to potentially make a move. Or he's got to try one somewhere in the first or second sector of the racetrack. Which is easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot easier said than done. You can see your range is right up close to the back of the thing through that last section there. So it's obviously, he's got the pace in the tight section, but yeah, you were sort of saying earlier, the thing comes off the corner really, really well, and that's where he's being able to hold Wayne up at the moment. So, you can see another BMW off in the wall. It's Jonathan Blanco that seemed to have made contact. So, but yeah, back to with Wayne. That's going to be his what he needs to do now is try to get as close as he can. I did notice that last lap as well. He does have a lot of straight line speed and seems to be being able to use the draft to get right up on the back of Ivo, but he needs to be a lot closer out of here. Very good run so far, but the mid corner just let him down there. He just sort of, Ivo got a very, very good run through the second part of that corner. It seems like Wayne just had to pull the car up to get to the apex, so just needs to get a much better run coming out of that section. I reckon he'll actually have a decent run at Ivo. You can see it's already ranging up on the back of the car, so the draft is definitely doing its thing. But yes, he just needs to be able to get off those corners a bit better to bring the challenge to Ivo.
A little bit further afield back here in the minor placings. Another pretty good battle for 15th place. Benjamin Johnson leading. Oh, about 10th place as well, yeah. But yeah, Benjamin Johnson leading Soren Koledzic and Hayden Carter in this trio of the battle. I reckon I'll let JS stray there. I didn't give him much to go on, did I, Simon? In the minor placings. And he took a punt, and it wasn't quite right.
That's been a battle that I've been actually watching that one there. They've been having a red hot go at it, so just having a look at another replay. Sammy and Rural Filicet.
This is
Delicar down into turn one. Very nicely done. Gets it in. Job done. Can't have a cleaner of a pass than
that was oh no, Wayne Burke is in the grass. Alright, what has happened to the man for BMW today? Through the double right-hander where he's lost so much already. A little bit too wide once again. Gets the dirt and spins himself around. We stay on replay for the third time. This is the battle with Koledzic and Johnson. Oh no, turn one, side by side. Not again, Koledzic. Don't do it again. He didn't. He just about kept it off. That's actually down at turn 5. Johnson. That car did not pull up in the lightest.
No, that was quite peculiar. Like, we could sort of see that maybe he was reacting. He would have a better look at here. That did not pull up at all. He wasn't even that far off the apex. So very strange. Was maybe brake problems or maybe hardware problem? But yeah, that's very peculiar how he's ended up there.
Trevor Blackburn, Robert Northway are side by side.
Oh!
Turn one. Northway, how close do you want to get to the back of Blackburn through turn 2? And then he slots in behind him. That was extremely tight. Northway on the absolute limit of performance there, trying to put the squeeze on, and put a squeeze on, did he? Jesus.
Yeah, I don't think there was much more tyre left in tyre grip left on that one. But speaking of Robert, I did notice that earlier he started a bit further back down the field. He's actually put himself into 11th places into 13th. So Robert doing a fantastic job. Obviously, having raced Robert myself, he's very, very, very quick in these cars. As we can see, going for the move, and he's going to get it done up into 12th place. So very experienced man in these cars, very, very, very quick. So not surprising to see him moving his way through the field, and you'll soldier on and be able to get down the road. He'll have that pack of Sammy and Raul, to get into. So no doubt he'll be catching them not far away.
Yeah, Niels Bolter's trying to hold off Fernandez Valeska here, who gets to his inside now through turn 3. Can he keep the nose there? He's going to have to go the long way round at turn 4, but he'll have the inside for those double right-handers. But Valtes just swipes across the front of him and takes that line away. So he'll hold on for now through turn 6 and 7. If Valeska can launch well off here, he should be close enough. He looks to be close enough. By the end of this straight, he might be able to get alongside him as he follows him firmly in the slipstream. What does Boltis do here? He hugs the white line on the right-hand side of the racetrack, forces Velasquez to go the long way round, trying to sweep around the outside of him. I think he's going to do this. He's got the inside for the penultimate corner, and he does it. Great pace for Velasquez to manage to pull that one off. In the process, Hynemo has closed on to the back of these guys now as well.
Yeah, very, very good pass, as we were saying earlier. Or as I said earlier in the formation lab, if you get that pass done, if you could just hold it around the outside. So he's done that beautifully. As you can see on screen at the moment, Andrew Langham and Wayne Burke. Obviously, Wayne suffering from that spin, coming back through the field at the moment. So Andrew just sort of seeing what he can do. Try and keep Wayne behind at the moment, but you can see Wayne going to try and get a good run off this corner, and it seems to have gotten a very, very nice jump off the corner. You can see, same thing, sitting in the slipstream, just trying to range up on the back of Andrew. Seems to be pulling in slowly. Is Andrew going to defend? He doesn't. He's going to leave the door wide open. Andrew probably deciding that, oh, Wayne's probably a bit quicker, I'll let him go. And that's it, job done, lets him go. So Wayne will continue on. He'll have Gerardo Ramos down the road, so he'll be trying to catch him. Gerardo is doing some very, very good times at the moment, very consistently as well. Looks like his previous lap was actually his fastest one, so getting quicker as the race goes on by the looks of it, but it's only got Wayne about a second behind at the moment.
Reasonably close battle for 15th place as well, Hayden Carter and Chris Ilner. We're not getting far away from the pit stop phase for some extra fuel to top them off. We talked about this last week, and when do they want to make that pit stop? Well, the longer you go, the lighter the car becomes. In theory, the faster it becomes with the longevity these tyres have. So overcut should be the way to go. If you're stuck in traffic, the undercut can definitely work, but more so because you've got clean air rather than fresh tyres, because tyre changes not going to be a thing here.
Yeah, no, won't even think about tyres, so yeah, nice to say. It's going to depend on your situation. If you're stuck in traffic, it'd be worth going for the undercut. At the same time, because this track, we say a lot, this track being so tight and difficult to pass, if you take that pit stop early and end up finding yourself buried down the pack behind guys who are obviously not as quick as you, that can also be a disadvantage. So it's just trying to pick when is the best time to go, when is the best time to make that stop and try and get the biggest advantage. I'd say for a track like this, your overcut is probably going to be a better option. Stay out as late as you possibly can, run that fuel out as long as you can, try and stay in clear air is going to be probably the best strategy to go for.
Well, Josh Smets is in pit lane from about 16th, was running 14th, 15th before he pitted. So he's the first one to really blink. The other guys in pits are all a few laps down. We've had a few retirements already. 6 drivers out of the race. Benjamin Johnson, Jonathan Blanco, Patrick Reich, Matthew Thomas, Willem Karsten, Daniel Juan, and Timo Olmsted have all been forced to pull the pin on their races as we ride on board with Hayden Burns and looking at a small piece of racetrack out that front windscreen.
Yeah, the Audis don't have a lot of the windows in them aren't really that big, so it's a bit tricky to see over them. The Ford GT is another one as well. There's not much window to be able to look out of, but you can see it's not hampering her at all. He's getting every little bit of the racetrack, Hayden is, so he's driving very consistent lines, just sort of using every inch of the racetrack. So obviously behind Ivo at the moment, back down the pack, we've got Raul and Sven Urquhart still going at it at the moment. So these two haven't really separated each other the whole race. It's just sort of been battling away at each other. So still nursing that damage is Sven. So it doesn't seem, as I was saying earlier, wasn't seem to be affecting him as much. His pace still seems pretty decent. So yeah, it's going to be depending on when they actually, because they wouldn't have made their pit stops yet. So we'll be waiting and seeing when they actually do that.
Yeah, Villaseca closed in by 9/10 of a second last lap and has closed in by quite some more on this lap so far. And I think Villaseca gonna prove to be up another spot here because he's got the run. Eckhart's got that damage on the same car, same engine performance, but slipstream and a clean car means Villaseca swoops through before they even reach the corner, and he's up now into P8 in this race as 4th place now, heading up as Wayne Burt for One Performance Racing continues his charge back through the field after that mistake up at turn 5 and 6. Or is it 6 and 7? Something.
Whereabouts are they at the moment? It'd be 6, yes. So the fast right hander, as they fly through there at the moment. So Wayne just waiting to have it pounce at this one. So this last corner, he was very quick through there last time. So can he get out of there as quick? He's very tight up behind. He's got a beautiful run out of that double right hand. I think this will be quite easy for him. It's going to be depending on whether Gerardo wants to defend this one or if he wants to. He's going to defend for the moment. He's going to make Wayne do this the hard way. Set him around the outside. No, yep, he's lifted off and let him go. So thought he was going to make him battle for that one, but no, he's decided to play the long game and let that one go.
Yeah, when you are behind someone, even on a track with, well, only one sizable, notable straight, you can save a little bit of fuel. Behind someone in their slipstream, you can, the engine is having to push as hard to propel your car through the air. You've got a hole being punched for you by the big rear wing of the car in front of these GT machines, and even the smallest margin can help. A litre even can prove to be the difference. A couple tenths is all you need in motor racing to make an overtake happen down on pit road. So that last drop of fuel, saving that last drop of fuel, is crucial, and I think Ramos probably trying to get some of that at the moment. Plus, Wayne Burke has got much superior pace. There is not much point in fighting him. And there's still just over half the race to go. Up here in 2nd and 3rd, this could be a bit more hotly contested between Howler and Burns. These guys are now 3 seconds off the lead of the race.
Yeah, dropped a bit back, but Luez has just been punching at sensational times, just pushing that gap out a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see if, as we were talking about fuel, if Hayden is already thinking about that. He's definitely looks like he's got the pace at the moment, but he's just sat there behind at the moment. And as I say, this is just purely a fuel race. There's no tyres, so you're not going to, have to absorb, the tyres are not going to absorb your fuel stop. So it is purely a fuel race at this point. So by staying in behind, using less fuel, and he's gone sideways!
And into the fence, he backs it in, keeps it going. How's that rear end look? There's not a scratch on it. So that rear end is squeaky clean.
How did you get away with that?
The tyre bundle doing their job, and that car walks away unscathed. Look at this from on board. looking over his left shoulder, just clipped the grass, I think, lost the rear, bounces back out on his way.
Tell you what, that is quite lucky. He must have only just barely touched that wall to get it to not cause any damage. But yeah, as you've seen, quite a few people do. Although it's a different corner this time. It was the double right that everyone seems to be sort of having issues. But yeah, just went that little bit too wide and just caught the grass. And we know how harsh the grass is with this time model at the moment. So you can very easily get you sideways. As you can see, making his way into the pits, Hayden goes in, so he'll get his stop out of the way. Having that mistake, probably best to just get the stop out of the way now. See if he can get back into a rhythm. Try and find his way back at the front at the moment. So there's another battle going at the moment. Robert Northway again looks like he's making his way through the pack again. Let's see, and in the pit, so you can see Hayden Carter in the pit, and looks like actually Burns has actually retired the car, right?
Well, that's a shame. Probably was still on for a top 5 in this one, and maybe some internal damage to the rear end of that car from that contact. As we go back to the 11th place between Carter and Ilner, once again, these guys still not able to separate themselves as Ilner continues to try to chase Carter down in front, but doesn't look like he's really got the pace at the moment. He's gained 6/10 on the last lap, so he had dropped off, but he's starting to come back.
Yeah, definitely. It's a nice battle between these two at the moment. So, yeah, have these guys pitted as yet? I'm just having a quick look. I don't believe they actually have. Yeah, so Northway was actually out of that pack, the first one to hit, so these guys will be carrying on. Wonder if we'll actually see them go to pit road. Usually you'll react to everyone that's around you at the moment, so if I was them, I'd be thinking about making that dash to pit lane unless they're confident in their pace, and it looks like they are confident in their pace. They're going to keep going at the moment, try and get as much as they can out of that low tank. You can see it's obviously a bit of damage in the front right of that BMW at the moment, so obviously not affecting him too much. He's able to stay in this pack, but this fight at the moment, so obviously they're going to press on 0.3 of a second, so that gap is just stable between them. So yeah, we'll see, can they get the jump using the overcut?
Now let's see how this one plays out then for these drivers, as Carter last time was only 3/10 quicker than Ilner, so we closed in again and onto the back straight. I think Ilner didn't quite get the launch he was looking for, not able to close up on to the back of him. Carter's going to be safe for at least a little while longer up in front of them as well. Sami Henimo and Niels Boltis fighting away for 9th place on the racetrack through the final corner on the circuit. As in pit lane, Matthew Thomas has managed to get his car repaired, and he's going to head back out to log some more laps.
And just having a quick look at the times at the moment, it looks like Wayne Burke is setting the track on fire at the moment. You can see a car in the wall. Sami Henimo. Wonder what has happened out of there. Is it gotten it sideways coming out of the pit lane? It's just running up against.
He was battling with Boltis on the track, and unfortunately lost it by himself, coming through turn 1. Just on the exit of the corner, got out into the grass, and that car took a hard right into the fence. Concrete there. No absorption of that impact whatsoever. He's out of the race.
Yeah, that'll be done, unfortunately, with that hard impact. So go back to Hayden and Chris. So this battle's still progressing at the moment. It looks like they've stayed out for another lap. So trying to get as much as they can at the moment. Looking at their last lap times as well. Weren't too quick. 16.8, 16.9. So doing good lap times. We have a look back to what Robert Northway's doing at the moment. So they'll go out and they'll do another one. Robert Northway 16.9 on his last lap, so they're only about a tenth or two in front at the moment. So not sure if that's going to be enough to bridge that gap. So have to wait and see. So 3 laps ago since pitting for Robert, so his pace will start to come back to him as well. So these tyres obviously coming back up to temp, the pace will come back to him. So I don't know, if I was Hayden at the moment, or this pack at the moment, I'd seriously think about making a dash to the pit lane. They've had a couple of attempts those last couple of laps, so the gap should be right for them. Yeah, just what are they going to decide to do? Whether go another lap or?
I don't think there's really much disadvantage to staying out here. They're not holding each other up. They're not battling, and Carter's got clean air up front. I mean, it's not like Northway back there has got fresh tyres. He's got more fuel. In theory, should actually be slower. So it just depends how much really Ilna thinks is being held up, having to follow in the wake of Carter.
Yeah, exactly. Just having a look at the times again. 16.9. That last up, 17 dead. So. Yeah, Northway's about a tenth slower than them at the moment. Yep, they'll keep going again. So, not sure how many laps you get out of a tank for these things, but they must be getting close to being.
They're another 5 minutes, I think.
5, yeah. So a couple of laps left, and then they'll have to go for it. But so at the moment, yep, they're fine for the moment if they're pulling out a tenth or two every lap. But yeah, it's just going to be about that track position, and it's just whether or not Robert actually starts going faster again. Once his fuel load starts wearing off, they'll eventually get to a point where it'll sort of fall into a bit of an equilibrium, and the fuel won't be making as an equilibrium where the fuel won't be making as much of a difference as what we're seeing at the moment. So, yeah, I'll have to get you a thesaurus right, so you can figure that one out.
Wait, so you can't say half the drivers' names, but you can say equilibrium. I'm not sure that checks out, Simon.
Yeah, you got me. You've got me there. Yeah.
And you can't say thesaurus, so I mean, what's going on there?
My grasp of the English language is very varied. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Well, let's keep our eyes on the track with these two drivers that are stuck in a stalemate. Either that or Ilna is happy to sit in behind him for now, save a bit of fuel, save a couple of litres, and then just jump him in pit lane. So I reckon Ilna's probably in a good spot right now, saving fuel even if he's not trying to. Up front, Luis Gallon in an even better spot. A lead of 3.5 seconds. It's almost 10 seconds back to Burke, who's actually lapping quicker than him right now, and Gallon cruising in that Mercedes.
Yeah, continues on for another lap. Ivo will make the jump into the pits. We watch Wayne. Wayne will also follow suit. Yeah, Wayne's times have been fantastic. Gerardo will also make his way in. So, and Andrew Langham will also make a duck. So everyone's jumping into the pits at the moment. Slavin will also come to the pits as well. Make sure to follow him on Twitch. So Raul will continue on his lap. Oh, a bit wide out of there. So you can see Hayden Carter and Chris Ilna battling again. I did notice in that last lap it looked like Hayden was getting a little bit defensive, and now Hayden's going to make the jump into pit lane.
Ilna spins!
Oh, that.
And he's rolled halfway out of pit lane too. I think he's going to have to stay out. He's definitely out of pit lane now. Now he's back. Ew, this is going to be interesting. Whether Ilna gets a penalty for an unsafe entrance to pits.
Very.
So what happened there was Carter decided to pit. Ilna wanted to shadow him. And so he made his decision to pit based off of Carter, which means he committed late. And in doing so, got on the brakes a bit late, turned in a bit late, clipped the grass, rotated, and Kolodzic just about missed him too. Based off a stationary time, our director can confirm, don't believe Ilna got a penalty there. Lucky.
Yeah, he's just barely got away with that one. I was kind of thinking the same boat. I was thinking, oh, he's rolled out of the lane, that's going to be deemed an unsafe entry, but no, the iRacing stewards have decided to give him a little bit of leeway, fortunately for him, so we won't be serving a penalty for that. As we look back at Soren, so very brave man Soren to give the Ford a go. It's notoriously known for being a bit of a beast to get your head around, but he's doing a fantastic job in it at the moment, running up in P12 at the moment. Once the field spreads itself out, you see Robert Northway as well. So did we see Hayden Carter? Hayden Carter did actually get out in front of Robert, so it does look like that overcut has worked fantastically for him. Bit of damage on the rear wing of Roberts. I'm not sure, was that there before the pit stop or is that occurred afterwards?
Somewhere over the span of the last 31 minutes, I'm going to take a guess. I honestly don't know.
I think you're right. I think you are right. It'll be within that time frame. So yeah, one for Ryan.
Wayne Burke has got a lot of pace. He couldn't get by over Howler earlier. He had that spin, and he's brought it back to 2.5 seconds now at the back of Howler. So the theory I ran with earlier that he had the pace that was caught behind him, that seems to be true because he is reeling him in. Whether 8 minutes or 9 minutes even is enough to close in the remaining 2.5 seconds. So wait a minute.
Yeah, as I said, wait ahead.
Wait a minute. What?
How did that happen?
What?
Yeah, it must have been in the pit cycle.
They both pitted. How much quicker was Wayne Burke's pit stop than Ivo Howler? Because he was 6 seconds behind him before the pit stop, when I last looked. Something has happened there. That's why I was looking at that a little bit confused. I love that moment of realization. I'm thinking Burke's 2 seconds behind him, and then I actually look at the standings.
Yeah, because I had a
leaderboard.
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, oh, he's got to be behind because they weren't there at the pit stop. Well, he was well behind on the pit stop, and then he's just popped out a few seconds in front. So, just having a look.
This is Ivo Howler. Our director says this might be it. Through the final corner, this isn't it, Jay.
So I'm just watching in turn 1. Is there a bit of an off track? Does he
Got
go
the
off
curb,
the track?
got the grass.
Ooh.
He didn't do much. Nothing untoward there, so
Something's got to. He's got maybe a lose or something. I can't make sense of that. That's crazy. But anyway, well, is what it is. But we head back to the racing. Chris Illner recovering from his very interesting pit entry. He's going to go around the outside of Trevor Blackburn. See the BMW come on, use those big brakes on the Beamer. Look, and there he goes. Beautifully done. Gets the run on the outside, even on the dirty line. Pulls it up beautifully. Gets the job done. Those brakes on that BMW proving to be the difference maker in there. So, and he'll obviously continue his charge down the road. Looking currently Chris Illner in 13th place, so he's dropped a fair bit back from Hayden, who's currently in 10th.
I think I have found the reason for the confusion. Jay's timing screen is broken because Wayne Burke is behind Ivo Howler on the racetrack.
No? No, he's not.
Alright, I found the source of the confusion for that. I was on replay mode.
Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, okay. I'm absolved of my literacy issues. Ryan can't figure out what replay mode is and what live mode is.
Welcome to the SimSpeed Friday Night Double Take. Where
we are sober. We are sober. I'm not sure about Ryan at this point.
Wayne Burke is about half a second a lap quicker than Ivo Howler for the last 6 or so laps. in the pit stops, Howler ran a 1 minute 37 flat on his in. Wayne Burke was a 1 minute 36.6. His outlap was a 1:15. So that's their outlaps. His in lap was a 1 minute 20.7, and Paulo Gallon's was a 1:21.4. So the in lap for Gallon, oh Jesus, oh no, Howler.
Oh, I'm riveted. I am riveted at this point. I love to see where this is going.
Howler was slower on the in lap and the out lap, but not by 6 seconds.
Yeah, something has gone on. We'd have to go back and have a proper look at the replays and figure out what's going on. It's just, yeah, it's a bit sort of mind-boggling what's happened there. But I wonder if Wayne's a bit as mind-boggling as what we are at the moment. Obviously running in second and doing a fantastic job. He seems to be actually chipping away at the moment. Look at those last couple laps. He's about 2/10 faster that last lap. So he was about a tenth slower than Luis Palagellin. So it's not quite as fast there, but he's pulling it away at the moment. So yeah, great job for Wayne, considering he was all over the back of Ivo at the start and then had that spin. Lucky didn't lose a whole bunch of time, but had to come through the field. So yeah, to be able to, after all that, to come back through into second, you'd be absolutely cheering. So have a look at have a look at what's going on here. Soren in the mighty Ford GT, coming through turn 1, a bit wide, but holds onto it. As you can see him coming over the rise. Oh, a bit of attitude. Oh, is he going to keep it off the grass? No, he'll get on the grass.
It was less adventurous than lap 1, I'll give him that much.
Well, he's done it before, so he'd be a professional at trying to catch it at turn 1. So, but yeah, coming over the rise, the rear of the car just snapped sideways a little bit. So wasn't quite expecting that to happen.
At least the owners of Canadian Tire can cut back on their lawn mowing costs for turn 1.
Absolutely. Get himself a part-time job doing it for them.
Exactly. I'm still trying to work out the Burke and Howler thing, but I think I've given up. It's inexplicable time warp. I'm going to put it down to.
Bit like my literacy. Just don't try to work it out. It's not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you that Burke is 8.5 seconds behind Gallon, so that's pretty much settled with 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Just the sheer confusion in the box tonight. This is what happens when you do 5 broadcasts a week with Jay. It just melts your brain, Simon.
This is my first one with Jay for this week, so I'm feeling pretty good. So,
you've got no excuses left.
yeah, I've got no excuses, just except I don't speak English apparently. So, but yeah, it's out to 8.6 now from Luis to Wayne. Oh, back down to 8.4. So as you were saying,
we're just going to keep going. 8.6, 8.4. Oh, it's down to 8.3. It's 8.4 again.
8.6.
No. So there's 15 drivers on the lead lap. 24 started Robert Northway, the final one of those guys, and he's got a 10-lap margin to the man in 16th place. That's Jonathan Diaz Blanco. So very comfortable for him. Matthew Thomas is in 19th. He should pick up a spot on Hayden Burns as long as he keeps on the racetrack, because Burns is out of the race and 2 laps ahead of him at the moment. I think he won't quite get to Nemo and Blanco, unfortunately, who are 4 laps ahead of him. But good on him for sticking with it and getting out there. Of course, official racing, the more corners you complete, the less of an effect your earlier incidents are going to have on your overall safety rating for your license. As we get 2 replays up on screen. This is Chris Ilner back in 14th. Hey, that's a bit sideways. Is he gone for a full spin cycle? No, he hasn't. He kept it out of the fence as well. Good job from him. Meanwhile, Koledzic is spending more time off the track than on it in the last few laps. As he came out of turn 1, got a bit twitchy on the exit, got the grass, got the fence in a big way.
Yeah, that's ripped the front left corner of the car. Just, yeah, obviously just grabbed the grass again. It looks like he's actually Going back to the pits after that one. Yeah, that'll be day done. Especially with that amount of damage and how hard he hit the wall. Obviously, that was concrete, not the tire barrier. So that's obviously going to do a lot of damage. So we can see
Oh
Lewis.
no, fifth place. Ramos has had an incident up there at the start of the back straight. We'll take a look thanks to modem simulation. Why was he in the grass? Was there contact or was it by himself? Well, based off that shot, he's got an entire block of land to himself and he's just run wide, got onto the dirt. Has he lost a spot as a result of this? He actually looped it, trying to get back on the racetrack, and there goes Slaven Prisina. So he loses out on a top 5 that was almost in the bag as the race leader. And now most of the field are on at the final lap of the race. Northway and Ilna are not. They've still got another lap to do after this one. And their battle is not over with yet. They're just in front of our race leader, Luis Paulo Gallon, who puts it on the back straight for the final time today. As up in front, Ilna and Northway are going to duke it out. Heading in to the last sector of the track, Ilna going to try to go the long way round on Northway. He backs out of it, thinks better. He's still got another lap to try and get this done as they come through the final 2 corners on the track, just in front of Luis Paulo Gallon, who has been unflappable today. No one has risen to the challenge as much as him here tonight as he gets it done at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He wins in the VRS GT Sprint Series. Wayne Burke comes home second despite looping it. Great drive from him. Ivo Howler inexplicably will finish third and not second, and he's only just going to hold off Andrew Langham as well.
Yeah, and he's definitely coughing towards the end there. That looks like fuel may have been an issue there. As we head back to this battle, Chris Illner, Robert Northway, ranges up on the back of him. Now he's got to try and get a very good run. Robert had a very narrow line through there, but he's got off the corner brilliantly.
Illner, I think he backed himself up just a little bit too much. You saw how close he was on entry through the middle. He backed it up a little too much, trying to get the run a little bit too wide, but he has got the mother of all runs. Northway's carrying damage, of course. Where's Illner go? He goes to long way again. Oh, he's trying to commit to it this time as much speed as he can carry around there. Northway has to cover him off on entry. Illner gets into the back of him. There's contact between them. Into the final corner, gives him a shot. A bump and run from Illner. Northway hooks him, and across the line, it's going to be Illner. Was it? No, Northway gets him. Northway will come across in 13th, and Illner has to settle for 14th. That reminds me of some of the crazy finishes we've had here in the NASCAR Truck Series in real life at this track. That was beating and banging in GT machinery. You don't often see a bump there, and then a big bump there, and Northway said, no, mate, I'm not having that. He hooks him, turns him round. I thought that was the line, but it's right there, and so Illner won't get him.
Fair to say that was very reminiscent of a certain NASCAR race. I know which one you're referencing. So, yeah, that's definitely bumping and rubbing towards the end.
I mean, those 2 corners just ask for it, don't they, on the final lap? As Australia take out the top 2 spots, or AusNZ, I should say, take out the top 2 spots. Gallon and Burke, 8.4 seconds between them. 19 seconds in the end back to Howler. He really struggled towards the end of that race. Andrew Langham came up just short, home in 4th, and Brezina picked up 5th as Ramos missed out with a spin late to come home 6th, ahead of Velaseca in 7th. Sven Eckhart, Niels Baltus, and Hayden Carter rounded out the top 10.
Let's go down to 11th. Josh Smets coming up to P11. That would have been a few places for him. 10 places up for him. Trevor Blackburn will come in 12th. Robert Northway from the back of the grid comes up to 13th. Chris Illner, what could have been? He could have been a bit further up the field. Soren Kolegic. Yeah, I've just brutalized that one. Fortunate enough for him, took on the Ford, but unfortunately, I think the Ford won tonight. Jonathan Blanco comes home 16th, and we're looking at the retirements at this point. Sammy Hanimo, Matthew Thomas, Hayden Burns, unfortunate, also getting caught up in an incident. Benjamin Johnson coming home in 20th. Then rounding it out with Patrick Wright, William Cartston, Daniel Wan, and Timo Olmsted.
And that will conclude us here for the GT Sprint Series. For the Friday night doubleheader. We should be live in 15 minutes as well for the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series on Facebook. The stream will continue until then, and on Twitch as well. On YouTube, you can go and find the broadcast in our channel. You can subscribe to if you want to while you're at it. But from myself, Ryan Jones, from Simon Mazzomo alongside me, and Jay Kennedy behind the scenes, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in 15 minutes.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going with the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?